all transparency. Have you ever cheated personally?
Yes.
Okay. What in your relationship drove you as a woman to want, or inspired you to want to cheat?
I need to remember.
Oh, take your time.
I think I was probably like missing something in the relationship at the time, and I still wanted to be with him, but I wanted to get what I was missing anywhere.
Okay.
So,
That sounds fair.
I think.
Because I really want to help the brothers out here because
It sounds fair.
I mean, it's not fair.
No.
It's not fair, but
I mean, it is what it is. It sounds about why people cheat.
What he's really saying is it just wasn't me, so it's all good.
Facts. What can a guy look for to be able to see? Because I'm sure there were probably some things that you did differently when you started stepping out. What does that look like when a woman is now potentially in a position where now she's like starting to kind of peek around the corner and be open to these new relationships?
I mean, it depends, because I feel like me, when I was doing it, I was making sure I was being extra nice, making sure he's taken care of. So it's not like really like something very different that I was doing, but I was making sure he's happy with me. So then when I go and come back home a little later, he's not wondering, oh, what's going on? Like, she's not happy. Like, no, it's like everything is actually really good in the home. So.
And you were still having just as much sex with your man as typical?
Yes. Oh,
Okay.
you gotta make sure you maintain
Oh,
that.
so fellas, if the head gets a little too good, be like, what the hell you got going on?
But that's not fair to say that either, But I know for some women they might actually have less sex because they
just unattracted. They just lost attraction for the guy.
And I mean, if she getting smacked 3 times by her dude, it's gonna be a little sore when she come back to her.
A little sore.
Her man.
So like, how does that work? Is it possible for a woman to have a sexual relationship with another guy for real, and still come back to her man and have a healthy relationship long term?
I don't know, because I didn't stay with him at the end of the day. Like me and him, we ended things. So I don't know if we could go back and be good again. I don't know. Yeah. But I don't think it's the fact that I was cheating that made it like it won't work with him anymore. I was probably already kind of checked out, but still wanted to have my cake and eat it too, and be like, I'm going to stay with him because it's a good situation. I like him. I know he's going to not do me dirty while I'm doing him dirty, And, but it just wasn't for me anymore. And I just stayed longer than what I was supposed to do.
I find that to be, in 100% of the cases, the truth. Like, women, they already broken up. By the time they cheating, they already broken up with you. Not to say that they're not going to stick around for a little bit, but mentally they've already tapped out. It's just a matter of time before they finally come around to it. And I really think it's just a matter of the punishment or the consequence is just not severe enough. Like, because if a woman, because this thing, if you really taking care of a woman and you a top tier dude and you got the finances, you got the looks, you got the ability to become a great father, and that woman knows that if she steps out, it's gonna be no possibility of you ever been in that relationship, I think that makes it a bit different. But on the other hand, if you know with a surety that he will never do nothing like that, then I honestly think that's how women work. I think it's kind of like you got a man has his team, you know what I mean? Or his vision and like his team with the woman. And I think if certain boundaries are not harsh enough, or penalties are not harsh enough, I think the woman will feel comfortable enough to do something like that. Because I think women have the same exact desires that men have.
Yeah. I honestly believe that. I know dudes talk big and bad about leaving a chick if she cheat. I think a lot of these niggas are really accepting this.
Well,
the fact that women are cheating.
See, I agree. And women know, like they know these men. You know the ones that's gonna be okay with it and let it slide, versus the ones that's gonna be like zero tolerance with it.
And it's I agree that there's a level of truth in that. But I think too, like when you give the example of like the woman who's being so well taken care of, and all these things are being done, and she gets cheated, and she doesn't want to cheat because of that. But there's also the real situation that happens where there's a lot of women that actually get neglected, right? And maybe just you get neglected because the dude is grinding. Like he's focusing on building his empire and doing his life, and the neglect can really proceed. And it's kind of crazy because no matter, even if she thinks that he might leave if she cheats, the reality of the situation, if she gets to a certain point, it's like this level of like, I don't give a fuck.
And
that
it's
can
justified,
occur.
mentally justified in their minds.
And then the reality of why she's doing this, she can tell herself all the reasons why this is now right for her to take care of herself. And, the cheating pops off and occurs. And still, a lot of guys, I still don't think it's a guarantee. Even those guys, I still think a lot of these guys are still keeping these women.
Well, they will stay. This is why you see the videos,
Especially
of
the
man.
married, especially the married men.
And if there's kids involved, they just, because that's what men want to do. They want to keep the family together. And no man wants to be embarrassed to the point where he's like, yeah, my relationship is over because my wife
Because
cheated.
now is ego involved.
Exactly.
It's
So
shame involved.
This is why, this is the thing. Because if a man, it's this thing, you know your woman is cheating, you caught your woman cheating. You wouldn't pull up on her with a video camera trying to embarrass her.
Yeah.
Unless
Because it's embarrassing for you.
Exactly. Unless
Very.
you wanted her to feel so ashamed and so sad that she's now gonna come groveling back, right? Because if you was done, you was done. Then why you got to put on all this show with the camera and trying to put it online, all this
Facts.
thing? So I do think most men, but I think those women know. They know.
They know who to do it with.
They know who to do it with, and it just is what it is, So I don't necessarily think that's a wrong thing. Yeah, I mean, I think it's wrong to be dishonest, but I can understand why a woman would do something like that. So I do think it's a level that a man has to just understand the dynamics of a woman and how they may work and how they do have these same desires. And you just got to put yourself in a situation. I think it's a balance that I have not mastered, but it's a balance of like giving your woman the certain amount of attention, but then not giving her over attention and over compensating for things, where you sacrificing your own identity. But it's tricky, man. I think women are tricky. And I think it'll probably be better, to be honest with you, for men, I think it'll probably be better if there was some kind of incentive for them to really stick around. But the incentive is like, it's not really an incentive no more for a woman to be loyal because they don't have to have us for money. You know what I mean? They don't have to have us to even raise a family from what they're communicating. Now, don't get me wrong. No. I disagree with that.
Okay.
But this is just the mindset of the modern woman, in my opinion. So the incentive, so when it was an economic incentive, I know women, they get in the uproar about that. Like, oh, the mom, she had to stay around because she couldn't do this and do that. And it's like, I do get that. But like, if it's not that, then what is going to keep women in these relationships? Because I really don't think a man can, over an amount of 20 to 30 years, can really do everything to keep this woman from not taking action like that. I don't know if it's really possible, if it's not something that actually holds her in the relationship.
So she got to be scared to lose him to stay, and be faithful.
If there's a different solution, then you let me know.
Yeah, being non-monogamous. She'll stay.
You think so?
Yeah.
The only thing about the non-monogamy, which maybe that's it. Maybe it is if women get to kind of do whatever they want to. But I think the tricky part about the non-monogamy is, because I wouldn't be open for that. But let's say by some strike, I am open to it. I think when you bring another man into the situation, it just makes the relationship a little bit more difficult because men are territorial. So I just can't imagine a woman being able to go and have this, great time and she's having sex every now and then, and somehow the man is not intruding upon what we put together,